This is section 3.1, Relations, part 1. Our learning target is to discuss the concept of a relation and represent our relations in different ways. So first we need to start off with the definitions. Some definitions. We have a set, which is a collection of distinct objects. So for example, you could list the names of several fruits. That would be a collection of objects, which would be a set. Then we have an element in that set is one object in the set. So for your fruits, you might have banana. That would be one element. A relation is a relation associates the elements of one set with the elements of another set. So you can have two categories. So names of fruit and names of things that taste good in salad. Okay, and they might relate to each other. Then we have our domain. This is the first set of elements in a relation. So all the X. And then we have the range, the second set of elements in a relation, all of the Y's. We have our ordered pair, which is two numbers written in a certain order, X first and then Y, that can be used to show position on a graph. The X value is horizontal and is first. The Y value is vertical and is second. A coordinate system is a system that uses the XY ordered pair to determine the position of a point. So here is our coordinate system. And we have 4 quadrants. Quadrant 1, where both the X and the Y are positive. So this is our X-axis here. Our horizontal values are the X values. Anything that's on this side of our axis here, these are all positive X values. So the first number is going to be positive. Anything that's over here, our first number is going to be negative. Then we have the same thing with our Y values. Anything that's at the top here, our second number will be positive. Anything that's at the bottom, our second number is going to be negative. So it works out to be, they're both positive here. Here we have a negative X and a positive Y. They're both negative over here. Here we have a positive X and a negative Y. So we're going to practice plotting out some points. First we want to put our A value, which is 0, 0. So that's going to go right here. 0, 0, that's our A. Then we want B is 1, 2. So it's located up 1 over and 2 up. So 1 over, 2 up. So that would be our B. Next, our C, so negative 3, 5. So now we need to go 3 this way, negative 3, and then up 5. So put a point right here. This is C. And then for our D, we need to go 2 to the right, and then 6 down. So it'll be right here. That's D. And our E is negative for both. So negative 5, negative 1. And that's our E. Now, one thing to note is in your workbook for these questions, there's no numbers. So you just need to count the lines. So this way, you're going to go 3, and this would be negative 3, and you just count the number of lines. There are many ways to represent a relation between two sets. So we can represent them as ordered pairs. So remember, this is one set, negative 3, 0, 2. And the second set is negative 5, 1, and 5. So here, ordered pairs, where you're pairing up our X's and Y's together. We can put them in a table where we always put the X values on top and the Y values on the bottom. So here our X values, remember, are the very first numbers here. So negative 3, 0, and 2. And our Y values are our second number, negative 5, 1, and 5. That's a horizontal table. You can represent them as a vertical table where the X values are always on the left and the Y values are always on the right. So here we can take these values and just write them vertically. Negative 3 is 0 and 2. And we make sure that the same pairs still match up with each other. So negative 5, 1, and 5. We can represent them using mapping notation. So here we write the whole set together. So 3, 0, 2, and then we draw arrows to match up with our corresponding numbers on the other side. So 3 goes with -5, 0 goes with 1, and 2 goes with 5. And finally, you can also graph the numbers. So we're going to graph -3, -5. So here we go over to -3, and we go down to -5. Whoops. And we put a point. There's no names for these points. We're just going to put the points. Next, we go to 0 and then 1, and we have another point. And then we go to 2 and 5, and we have our third point. We don't connect these points. They're not a line, they're just points. We just have 3 points on our graph. We can determine domain and range of ordered pairs. So the domain, if you look here, it says domain and range underneath. Notice that the domain is all of the x values and the range is all of the y values. So here for our domain, we're going to focus just on the x values. And we always want to make sure we write them from smallest to largest. Okay, so these ones are already organized smallest to largest, but if they weren't, you would need to reorganize them. So we have -3, 0, and 2. Now for the range, we're going to focus on our y values. So here we have -5, 1, and 5. -5, 1, 5. So those are also already arranged for us. We're going to do the same thing with b. First, we'll look at our x values. So we need to rearrange these from smallest to largest. -4, -3, 2, and then 9. And then we're going to look at our y values. Now here we come into something new. We have 0 2 times, 0, 0, 2, 1. Anytime we have the same number twice, we're only going to write it one time. So we're going to omit duplicates. Okay. So, and we still need to arrange it from smallest to largest. So our smallest is 0, and then we have 1 and 2. So we don't write the second 0, we only write 1 0. So that's how we do our domain and range. So we move over to the next one. Here they want domain and range of points on a graph. So we're going to we have to pull the x and y values out of here, and then we're going to write the domain and range. So first we need to figure out what the values of each point is. So our first point is -3 and then 0. That's this one. This one is -2 and 0. Then if we move along, we have 0 and 1. We have 1 and 3. We have 3 and 3. And then 4 and 5. Okay, so that's the values of each of these points. So for our domain, we're going to focus just on our x values. So -3, -2, 0, 1, 3, and 4. And then for our range, we're going to focus just on our y values. And we're going to cross out any duplicates. So we have a 0 2 times, we have 3 2 times. So we have a 0, 1, 3, 5. Okay, and that's it for domain and range. So now we're going to end this part. You're going to go to page 116 and you're going to do questions 1 to 9, and then we'll come back for part 2.